YouTube live, and I just need to make sure this is working fine. Okay, let me just refresh this. Okay, good. I think the streaming is working. Okay, and everyone can hear me, right? I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Okay, so we're just gonna wait for a few more people to join before we start our webinar. Let's just wait for more people to settle in. We're just giving everyone else like a minute or two to settle in. Good. Okay. If you guys are wondering why I keep looking now, it's because I'm also on YouTube on my phone because I want to make sure everything's working fine. The last time we had these webinars, I think it was glitching and I think there was like a lot of problems. Yeah. So you guys can just let me know if you guys can hear me fine and if you can see my screen. Everyone good? Okay. All right. Let's start our webinar proper. Um, Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to our Monday weekly forecast as we talk about the key fundamental news events to expect for the week ahead along with their technical setups. Okay, we'll be highlighting key news events, central bank notes, and key support and resistance levels to watch out for. And this webinar that you guys are attending right now is brought to you by Everest Fortune Group in collaboration with Vantage Markets. We're an award-winning research firm, and we're the finalists for 2019, 2022, 2020, and 2021 for Best Forex and Equity Research. We work with major financial institutions to help them forecast where the markets are heading. And now we have a special partnership with Vantage Markets where we're bringing you guys the good stuff every day. So I'm glad you guys are here and I'm glad you guys are attending our webinar. I hope you get something out of this. I hope you bring whatever you learn, whatever I share today, home with you so that you can combine it with your own strategies and hopefully it helps you improve your strategies. Okay, so a little bit about our team, but like we always start with introducing our team. Our team here at Everest Fortune Group, we have our CEO, Desmond. Uh, he's also our chief trader here. He basically taught us everything we know about trading. You've got myself, Cassandra, and my colleague Vico. We're both prop traders and we're also investment analysts. So we help to find the good stuff for you guys and do the research and also um, a lot of forecasting and a lot of research is done by us. Okay, so as usual, before we do anything, let's start with the disclaimer. So the disclaimer is that you guys should take note that this webinar is purely educational and this webinar has nothing to do with anything to do with forecasting, anything to do with signals. It should not be construed as investment or trading advice. So please do your own due diligence before trading, all right? Please do not put your life savings into this. Please do not sell your kids. Do not sell your wives, your husbands, your spouse, whatever it is. Do not risk your life savings. Please be cautious when you are trading. Okay, let me just check and see. Okay, is everyone cool with that? Is everyone okay? If everyone is okay with that and in agreement, yes, please. I'm just gonna remind you guys one more time that trading margin, Trading forex and CFDs carries significant risk, especially if you are trading on margin. It is not suitable for all investors, so please be cautious when you are investing. Okay, so everyone's good. I'm gonna move on now. Okay, so what happened last week, or like what has been happening in the world? Let's start with the US session. What happened during the US session? The US and the European markets were closed on Friday due to the Easter holiday. So, what does this mean for the Asian session? The deterioration in the development of the war in the Eastern Europe is likely to give safe haven assets a leg up during the holiday themed trading session. Okay, so let's just move on to some of the things that we will be looking at today. We'll start with the dollar index. Okay, key news events for today, no major news events, right? So there are no major news events for the dollar index, but what can we expect today, especially with the DXY? Uh, the Fed's William agrees to the option of a 50 BPS hike in the Fed funds rate and warned that the central bank might have to set the rate slightly above the neutral rate to combat rampant inflation. So central bank notes that there's a seven hikes for 2022 with the FFR seen reaching 2.75% to 3% in 2023. Okay, so the inflation forecast for 2022 were raised to 4.1%, where it was previously 2.7%. So I mean, when it comes to inflation, this is not good news, right? A lot of times, I think a lot of people are just leaving their money in the bank, and whatever interest that the bank is giving you, I'm sure that it's not even beating inflation. So this inflation is a very important thing to take note of, right? Okay, I see more people joining us. Okay, hi. Okay, sorry, where was I with inflation? So the next meeting regarding any major news with the dollar index will be on the 4th of May 2022. Not That's like in a week, right? That's like in a week. So that's that. Anyway, in terms of the dollar surged to a more than 2-year high on Friday, even though it was Easter holidays, and continuing to draw support for Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's comment on Thursday to set back a half percentage point tightening at the next month's policy meeting. So do take note of that. Bond yields in the U.S. dollar are surging higher after Federal Reserve again Powell confirmed that the U.S. central bank is ready uh, again to, like I was saying, the 50% basis points next month and potentially at the June meeting. So our bias or our outlook for the next 24 hours when it comes to the dollar index would be weak bullish, right? It's just a bullish, but it's just a very weak one. So if you are going to trade the dollar index, do be cautious. Do take note of all of these things happening, inflation and all that. And if you are going to trade, I know our Monday sessions are always about news and always about like basically updates of like the world fundamentals and news. But I do advise you guys whenever you are trading to always, I mean, if you can, to combine fundamental analysis with technical analysis. That way it makes like things more accurate, right? If you have two things saying the same thing, your probability of chances of winning the trade will be higher. So I do recommend you guys um, just taking fundamentals like with a pinch of salt, or like just listening, just taking note of fundamentals, but then also combining it with technicals. So how I trade personally is that I combine or I weigh a lot more of my decision. A lot of my decision is based a lot on technical analysis rather than fundamentals. But yeah, I do always take note of it anyways. Um, hey Des. Okay, that's that with the dollar index. Let's move on. Okay, let me go next. Let's go on with the Japanese yen. Okay, I see Des sending a cat in a box. Okay, so what's up with the Japanese yen? No major news today. What can we expect from the Japanese yen today? The yen may see a brief safe haven reprieve from the inaction of. Hello, just in case you wonder why there are not many viewers, your email link is not working. Oh, yikes. Hey SU, thanks for letting us know. I was wondering why our viewers decreased because yeah, okay. So Desmond, who is our CEO, is in the chat as well. I think he's gonna let Vantage know. So thanks for highlighting SU. The email link is not working. Okay, because I personally use the link in the Telegram group chat. So there's a link that would lead you to YouTube Live, and I use that to get on to the YouTube Live. So I don't know how you guys got on, but yeah, thanks for letting us know. I was wondering why our sessions were getting like there were less and less people joining. Okay, so back to the Japanese yen. Where was I? Yeah, so the currency, the central bank notes that there was a dismissed debate on an exit from the current easy policy stance, and there should be an expect inflation to rise to close to 2% in Q2, right, due to high oil prices. Rates in Japan will remain low, higher domestic price pressures in the next months ahead. So the next meeting to take note of, at, like in regards to the Japanese yen, would be on the 27th of April 2022, which is in 2 days, right? Um, One thing that I was reading up on is that traders around the world, like they watch the Japanese yen's rise and fall, not just to follow the Japanese markets, but also to gauge how investors globally are feeling. So usually when the markets are rallying, the yen tends to weaken against other currencies. When markets get turbulent, the yen tends to gain ground. Okay, so that's that with the Japanese yen. Our biasness for the Japanese yen for the next 24 hours would be mixed to weak bearish. Okay, it's bearish, but like it's weak. I get the link. Okay, I get the link via. Let me just. I actually can see I get the link via email and it leads to a go-to webinar and the slide says webinar has ended. I only found you through YouTube search. Okay, hey as you thanks for highlighting. I just want to find out from you if you are in the Telegram group chat. I think that's the chat with a few like let me just head into that group chat. Okay, there's 36 people in this chat. There's like close to 2,000 people in this chat. I'm just wondering if you are in that chat, right? Okay, I'm just gonna quickly click on one of the links here. Okay, the link in the chat does work. So I'm guessing it's the email one. I wrote Vantage, but the client success ad is not working as well. Okay. Des, I hope you're looking at this. We'll work on fixing this. I think in the meantime, I'll just focus on the slides, but thanks for letting us know. This is really important that you let us know. I'll just get into the slides so that we have more time to look at the charts maybe. Hopefully we would have enough time to go to the charts. Okay, so that's that with the Japanese yen. Let's move on to gold. Um, Again, no major news event. Sorry for interrupting, but I love this woman. Oh, thank you, SU. Thanks for letting us know. No, really, for the longest time, I was wondering why our viewers has decreased when we moved on to YouTube Live. So when we were on GoToWebinar, we had like quite a bit of viewers, like probably a lot, like much more than now. Then when we came to YouTube, I don't know if you guys can see the number of viewers, but it has decreased like crazy, and it's it's good that you let us know that it's because the link isn't working. We were wondering, I was just about to, like, I was thinking to myself at the start of the webinar, like, okay, right after this webinar, I need to highlight to Vantage that something somewhere is not right because I don't know why our regulars are not on. Like, I don't see any of our regulars here today. So yeah, thanks for letting us know. Okay, so in terms of events today, no major news events for gold. But what can we expect with gold today? With most major markets in the holiday mood, the directional bias on the precious metal is likely to come from Russia Ukraine front. I mean, that's just one view. Another concern about the aggressive Fed rate hikes and China's COVID spread to Beijing are sapping investors' confidence, keeping the sentiment around the US dollar buoyant at the expense of gold price. So, meanwhile, a hawkish shift in the European Central Bank is further adding to the downside in gold. The rate continued to reprice higher as the market pencils in another rate hike in 2022. Pricing is in 10 additional hikes during the year, hinting at a larger overshoot of neutral. So while the yellow metal prices have remained extremely resilient against the aggressively hawkish Fed, as the protracted war in Ukraine stimulously raised both geopolitical uncertainty and inflation risk, thereby fueled demands for havens. We see, hi Martha, hi. Oh, okay. I've got one regular here. Okay, so I'm going back to gold now. We see few participants left with the appetite to buy gold. Okay, so that being said, our biasness for gold in the next 24 hours would be mixed to weak bullish. So I am a bit more biased to bullish, but it's just not the most bullish, just weak bullish. But then we can always try to combine that with technical analysis after we do the fundamentals, and then we can kind of make a decision there. So yeah, okay. Let's move on to the euro. Again, no major news events for the euro today. So what can we expect from the euro today is that the maintenance of the dovish stance by the ECB amid elevated price increases in the bloc and globally remains a surprise for traders. Hopes are still for a rate hike after the app went in Q3 of this year. So the central bank notes that sped up normalization pace of ABP to end the program in Q3. So an end to app should not be seen as accelerating, but rather as normalizing. So the next meeting to take note of for the euro would be on the 14th of, sorry, that was the last meeting, 14, I think it should be 14th of May. So the euro, again, other things that we can take note of is that the euro failed to gain a boost from pro-EU centrist Macron's re-election. So this is in France as France president. So, and European share future fell as investors fear about global growth overweight Diab relief about far-right candidate Marine Le Pen's defeat. So on Euro, I think we're a bit more virtual hub. Okay, it happened the same for my. Oh, okay. So SU was not the only one who was experiencing this. Even Martha as well. I don't know how many people were affected, but I'm assuming it's a lot because usually we will have much like there will be more of you attending these webinars. Like I hope my regulars find their way eventually. So our biasness for euro would be weak bearish, right? So it would be weak bearish, and that's that for euro. Let's move on to the Swiss franc. Okay, key news event for today. Thanks, Martha. I thought I was no. Oh my gosh, no, as you, I'm sure a lot of people are having the same problem. I'm sure a lot of people are having the same problems. Oh, guys, I'm sorry if I know Jacob. Oh, hey, Jacob. Jacob's having the same problem as well. Okay, you know what, guys? Just give me like a minute. I really just need to like quickly drop a text to let. I'm sure there are some people still trying to sign on to our webinar. Uh, yes, I don't know if you're still in the webinar. Okay, but a lot of people will experience a lot of them. Let me just quickly highlight to them in case there are still some people trying to get onto the webinar because we're only like 20 minutes in. A lot of them had problems or probably still having problems. Any problems. Okay, right. First, I really thought I was wrong with the time because it was in GMT. No, I think it's the link. I really think it's the link. Okay. So with the CHF. Oh, again, guys, if I sound a little like I mean, I see some of my regulars here. If I don't sound like my usual self, it's just because I'm just recovering from COVID. I got COVID twice. How sick is that? Like, I got it twice. The second time hit me hard. So my voice still sounds a little funny. I can hear myself sounding a little funny. I don't know if that bothers you guys, but like, yeah, I'm just recovering from COVID. I should be good in the next few days. By the time you guys see me on the next webinar, hopefully I'll be talking fine. Okay, cool. Everyone's good. Okay, so with the CHF, key news event for today is that it's a bank holiday. Oh yeah, I'm already recovered. Thanks, SU. What can we expect from CHF today is that a quiet day on the Swiss franc can be expected due to the holiday stretching to the following Monday. The central bank notes that capital policies unchanged and as expected, more concerned with the real effective exchange rate than the nominal. Let's remain very. The CHF remains very dovish and in no way expected to change anytime soon. So any meeting that you um, want to take note of with the CHF would be on the 29th of April. Our biasness for CHF in the next 24 hours would be mixed. So I mean, that's just fundamentals. Again, like I said, that's just fundamentals. We can just review this again when we move on to technicals in a bit. Okay, so let's move on to the pound. Um, key news events today, no major events. Okay, like um, other than the CHF, everything shouldn't have any major news events today. Okay, so what can we expect from the GBP today? The latest. No, you're good. You got this. Thank you. Thank you. So the latest decades high UKC PI is still expected to maintain expectations for at least another dovish hike. Good to see you. Wishing you quick recovery. I'm at the end of the COVID, so I'm good already. I just sorry I could hear myself and I felt like I sound a little squeakish, so I thought I'd just let you guys know. Um, another dovish hike by the Bank of England Central Bank notes that 20 BPS as expected was not unanimous decision with the BOE's 12 times voting to leave the rates unchanged. So inflation forecasts with the GDP were upgraded to 8% in Q2. Previously was 7.25%. The next meeting to take note of would be the 5th of May 2022, which would be in a week, right? So with growth slowing rapidly, the Bank of England may not be as aggressive as other central banks in its fight against inflation. This means that we may only see moderate interest rate increases in the coming months rather than coming like front-loaded hikes such as those entertained by the Federal Reserve, which is now seen raising borrowing costs by 50 BPS at its May meetings and June and possibly in July. So our biasness for GBP in the next 24 hours would be a weak bullish. Okay, weak bullish. We'll just combine that with technicals in a bit, and then we can make a better decision. Okay, let's move on to the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar key news events for today is that it is a bank holiday. What can we expect from the AUD today is that the release of China's year-on-year GDP expected 4.2%, previously was 4%, at 0200 GMT may disrupt an anticipated quiet day on the Aussie due to the Easter holiday. So the central bank notes that we can remove reference to patience in terms of policy tightening. Financial Stability Report urges borrowers to prepare for an increase in rates, wage and inflation data remain the main conditions for raising rates. And the next meeting to take note of for the AUD would be on the 3rd of May, which is in a week as well, about a week. The Australian dollar, I mean, these are just other things you might want to take note of. The Australian dollar and other peers in the commodity currency bloc are under pressure, with analysts pointing to fears that China's COVID breakout is worsening, threatening to slow the economy further. So the commodity currency is in trouble. Sorry guys, COVID. um, okay, just give me a sec. Just give me a sec. Okay, sorry. Sudden itchy throat. So commodity securities in trouble. Say some as forex strategies, and the Australian dollar at the start of the week um, is expected to be mixed. That's our biasness for the start of the week, or at least the next 24 hours. It's to be mixed. Okay, so nothing much for the Aussie dollars. Let's move on to the Kiwi dollars. Key news event today would be bank holidays. That's the same as the Aussie dollars. An upcoming speech. What can we expect from the NZD today? An upcoming speech by the governor is scheduled after the Easter holiday Monday. The central bank notes that the next meeting that you guys want to take note of for the New Zealand dollars would be the 25th of May 2022, which would be in about a month. There was plenty of anticipation ahead of the New Zealand dollar's inflation report, which is released each quarter. The consensus was a sharp rise of 7.1% YY in Q4 compared to Q1 reading of 5.9%. To the relief of investors, the actual reading was a bit less than expected at 6.9%, at the New Zealand dollar's response has been muted. Still, this gain is the fastest pace in 32 years, which means that soaring inflation remains a headache for consumers, businesses, and for RBNZ, which is tasked with containing inflation. So our biasness in the next 24 hours would be bullish, but it would be a mix to weak bullish. Okay, let's move on to the Canadian dollars. Canadian dollars key news event for today that it's a bank holiday. What can we expect from the um, Canadian dollars today? The influence on the loonie from the volatility of oil prices is likely to weigh, although the replication of the moves may be mild due to the holiday. So the central bank notes that um, meeting that you guys want to take note of for the Canadian dollars would be the 1st of June 2022, which is in a month or so. One other thing you guys might want to take note of is that the recent higher oil prices are also providing a boost to the Canadian dollars. Okay, so that's just um, recently, but we need to see where oil is going in the longer term. Okay, so the next 24 hours bias would be mixed to weak bearish. Okay, mixed to weak bearish, but that's also because we kind of have a mixed to weak uh, bearish bias for oil, which we'll be covering next. Okay, because you know how oil and Canadian dollars is kind of like correlated in some way because Canada is such a big oil producing country, right? Okay, so crude oil, no major news events for today. What can we expect for oil is that the EU, European Union, will formally propose a phase-in ban on Russian oil products after the first round of the French elections on, well, yesterday. The black oil is also likely to face downward pressure from the worsening COVID-19 situation in Shanghai, China. The country is the world's largest importer and consumer of oil. So therefore, our next 24 hours biasness will be weak bearish, okay, which actually contributes a bit to Canadian dollars as well. So if you guys have any questions regarding fundamentals, you guys can ask now. I'm gonna move to technical analysis. So we're going to do half fundamentals and half technicals. If you guys have any questions about fundamentals, do let me know. If not, I'm just going to go straight into technicals. Before I start, I just want to find out from you guys if you can see my chart. Is the charts clear? Is everything good? Jacob, Martha, SU, everything good? Okay, all right. Thank you. Thanks, Jacob. Okay, thanks. Okay, everything's good. Okay, if you guys have any requests or any instrument you want me to look at, like this is the time. This is the time to ask for it, right? If you guys are in any trades and you just want like kind of like a second opinion, if you guys want anything at all or anything you are currently looking at and you just want to see someone else's point of view, do request it in the chat box and I will go through it in a bit. If not, in the meantime, I'm just gonna go on to random pairs. I do have a watch list. Okay, we can just go through random pairs. AUD cat, we can do AUD cat. It's first on the list because it's starting with A, right? So no one. I'm just gonna give you guys a minute to think about if you guys have any pairs you guys want me to look at. Nothing. So remember fundamentals. We were saying that cat should be bearish and the Aussie dollar should is mixed, right? So in this case, I mean, if we're just based on fundamentals, then the AUD cat should be going up because one is mixed and one is bearish, right? But just one look from the charts, I do think that it is bearish. I think the AUD cat is bearish. Let's start off with looking for an ascending trend. Okay, let's go to the bigger time frames first so that we know what our overall direction is. One look, I do see like bearishness, but yeah, I do see bearishness. However, that kind of looks like a trendline breakout pullback that broke. Okay, I do see bearishness for sure. I mean, if we're just looking on a long term, this does look like a downtrend, right? Except for this part, it kind of did a little high. But if you look closely, it actually didn't break that downtrend. It's still making higher highs. Okay, so I would say that my view on this is that it still looks more bearish to me than bullish. If you're looking very closely in just this small little part here, it may look like it's bullish, right? It may look like a channel is forming, right? But the thing is, this is not. We need to wait and see what this candle says or what this area says. XAUUSD NAS 100. Okay, hey Phil. Oh, hey Philip, you're one of my regulars. How have you been? I have not seen you in a while. Okay, okay, after AUD CAD, we can move on to NAS 100 and XAUUSD. Okay, so I it does look like an ascending channel is forming, but we kind of need to wait for this part for that confirmation. I mean, look at how red and bearish that candle is. It could just like do this, right? It could just do this. So this is kind of mixed right now. They're not. I don't have a very strong bias of the direction or the trend right now. I think it's a weak bullish. I also think that it could be bearish, right? Okay, let's go to the 4 hours to see that if we just to see that if we can possibly find something a bit more obvious. I think the best thing we can do is at this point of time is to wait for this action right here, right? We want to see if it bounces from here or if it breaks, right? Because right now I think it's at a quite an optimal key level. So this is when it's at a key level, it's usually where the deciding factor happens. People don't know if it's going up or it's going down. I mean, that's just based on the channel. Okay, let's just see if there are other things like graphical levels or horizontal levels that we can find to give us a clearer picture of where we think this is going. Okay, one look I do see kind of like an overlap there, not the best. Not the best. Let me see if there are any more levels on the way. Okay, it's the only one that I would even consider that is very clear to me. Anything else doesn't look very clear, and therefore I'm a bit more reluctant to take those levels because you want to take clearer levels. Okay, so if we are going to use this horizontal level, it just means that this channel is out of the question already, right? It just means that this channel, there's a probability this channel is not valid. But even if we did adjust it in a certain way, right? See, the thing about channels is that it's very subjective. So I can adjust it in this way and it would still be valid. So the top of the channel would have two touches, and if it does come down here, kind of like wick a little, it would have two touches as well. So I would think this channel is shouldn't sway you in any way. So let's just get rid of the channel because I don't think it's giving us very useful information. If anything, I think the channel is confusing us. So let's just get rid of that. Okay, let's just stick with the horizontal levels for now. One thing I do see on the get-go is that price recently broke these two like uh, support levels. There was a support here, it broke, it didn't respect, it continued to move down. It broke this level again. This is not the best level anyway, so even if it did break, it doesn't even say much, right? Let me just pull that to see if it lines up better with anything else. Okay, yeah, it does line up a bit better with this. It broke this level and just makes me think that it kind of makes me think that there's a bit of bearishness happening. I also see like a trend line that may have broken. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, I'm just trying to collect as much information before go, please. Okay, after this we can do go. Okay, right now, just one look. Let me see if anything lines up on those levels. Office. Just recently broke the 61. The next level to take note is the 78. Let's just highlight that level. Okay, the 78. Let's just keep the 78 and get rid of everything else so that we're not confused and the chart looks clean. Let's see if anything else lines up at that 78 area. We want to find confluence, guys. Nope. Probably an extension. Let's see if anything lines up there. Yep, the 138 lines up nicely with the 78. Okay, so I would say this is a significant level of, it actually lines up exactly on the same spot as um the 78%. Let's just get rid of this. Okay. Let me see. This, there might be a projection here, not the best projection. I'm just trying to see if anything else lines up. Not the best again. Okay, no. Okay, we'll just take note of these two levels for now. Right? Let's just take note of these two levels for now. I do think this is an area you guys want to take note of. So if prices come here, I would think that there would be some kind of bounce happening here. But right now, the question is this a sell? Like, is this area a sell or not? This first resistance, is it a sell? Is this an entry for a sell? I don't think there's enough information on this. Okay, the only thing I would consider, okay, I would consider, other than this, I won't even consider it. Okay, if price pulls back to this area, which is where the pullback, like this resistant area was, because you know how price likes to do that pullback, likes to retest key levels. Okay, if it comes back and try to test this key level, I think you should be okay for a sell from this level. Okay, I think you should be okay for sell from that level, but let's find more things to back up the buyers. Let's turn this to red. Okay, red means it's bearish, green means it's bullish. Okay, if price comes up, retest this area, you see some kind of reversal pattern, you see some kind of like reversal pattern candlestick, okay, you need to get two confirmation. One is a rejection, price coming to this area and rejecting this area. So if you're not clear about that, just Google rejection candlestick patterns or reversal candlestick patterns. When price comes in and you see a lot of that kind of candle, it's kind of like an indication that there would be some kind of reaction off here. Okay, but if it comes here and you see a super strong green candle that just shoots up, like, please stay out. Don't even look at this anymore. This is, you're just gonna waste your time. Okay, just wait for price to get here, wait for some kind of signal, wait for some kind of candlestick, and then I think it's probable that price might just drop from here to this area. Okay, and then from this area, then you can consider buying it up again. Okay, because I do think there is a confluence here and there might be some kind of reaction there, but that's later on when price even gets here. Okay, so one thing is, if price gets here, I might consider a sell. If price gets here, I might consider a buy. Okay, that's the only two things that I'm considering, but you need to wait for price to get to one of those levels first. Okay, I know it's frustrating, but like, trading is just 10% buying, 10% selling, and 80% of the time you're just waiting. Okay, a lot of times you're just waiting. So wait for price to get to either that first resistance there or this first support, and then you can consider to buy or sell from one of those levels. Okay, let's see what Ichimoku is saying. Yeah, Ichimoku is saying it's a strong sell, right? It's a there's bearishness for sure. So If it comes back and pulls back here, that is your opportunity for the entry to buy the continuation down. Okay. If it doesn't pull back, that's fine. Wait for it to get to this level and then you can consider a buy. Again, it's a short-term buy because you're just only going against trend. Usually when you're going against trend, I only like to play to the 23%. Okay, so if price gets here, the 23% would be back there, which is quite a big move, but that's a move you can consider. Okay, so that's your first setup for today. How confident am I for this? Like, I think I'm more confident of a sell from this area. Okay, I'm more confident of a sell from this area. Okay, if price comes here and you enter for sell, I think I would be like 75% confident as compared from a buy from here. Okay, because again, I don't like to go against trend. I like to follow the wave. So clearly, it's on a downtrend. Clearly, like there is bearishness, so I want to move with that bearishness. I want to play the bearishness. Okay, so wait for something to happen on that. Okay, let's look at XAU USD and then we can look at NAS 100. Let's get rid of the Ichimoku so that we're not swayed anyway. What was our view on gold in terms of fundamentals? Let me just recap. We went through a bit of things. Okay, for gold, we were weak bullish. Okay, we were bullish that it was weak. Let's see if we are really weak. Let's look at the daily. Um, anything daily saying is that there was a recent breakout. There's a breakout here, broke that, broke this, kind of retest, kind of came back and it's retesting a second time, which is questionable because usually retests are only one time. The retests, they only do retest one time, not like multiple times. It's like retesting, like this is the third time now. That's one, two, and this is the third time it's retesting this area. Okay, so that's one thing you want to take note of. In terms of trend, I don't see a very obvious trend other than the recent like breakout of this. There might be a recent breakout. Yep. So there was a recent breakout. Um, okay, that's the best I can draw the trend line. But yeah, there's a breakout here. Usually after trend line breakouts, it likes to do a pullback back to this area, but not all the time. Sometimes it does that. So there might be some room for bearishness. There might be, okay. There might be, or from here it can just shoot up. I mean, we need to use small indicators and stuff to make our decision. Okay, so let's just stick to the two things that we have established so far. So far is that we have noticed that price has been testing this support for the third time now. It's coming to test. This is the third time it's testing. If it's not clear, I'll just change it to a line chart so you guys can see. You see how price came here a few times, just it's not breaking, but just coming to like bounce off it a few times. So that's one thing we want to take note of with gold. Second thing is that what I want to say recently in the last like maybe 3 weeks, it broke this descending trend line. So that kind of gives you a figure of like a bit of bullishness. Okay, let's move on to the smaller time frame. So that's the only two information that we gathered from the daily time frame. Let's see if there's any more information to help us make our decision on the 4 hours. Okay, on the 4 hours, don't see a very obvious trend either. Sorry, let me just zoom in. Okay, don't see a very obvious trend either. This horizontal level doesn't look good. It looks better on the daily, not gonna lie. Okay, Even on the 4 hours, can see that price came to test here 2 times. It's approaching the third time. Will it break? Will it bounce for the third time? Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's find out what the probability is. Guys, our job as traders is just to find probability. Okay, you find a probability of where you think price is going, and then you enter for a buy or sell. That's basically it. So right now, the question is, when price gets here for the fourth time, are we going to enter for buy or are we going to enter for sell? Okay, that is the question we have in mind right now. What have we achieved? We have achieved that it came here 1, 2, 3 times. It bounced 1 time, 2 times. As of now, there's no reason for us to believe that it's not going to bounce the third time, right? Because um, price is just a repetition, like it's just a repetition of this history, right? It just keeps doing what it used to do in the past. So it already did that 2 times. It's coming the third time. Right now, there's two things that are telling me that's bearish. There's some kind of bullishness. One is that, okay, first of all, fundamental is already saying that we have a weak bullishness, bullish bias on fundamentals. That's one. Two is that because the last 2 times it bounced off, there's no reason as of now for me to think that it won't bounce off the third time. Okay, that's the second reason. And the third reason is because on the daily, um, maybe if you go on the weekly, there was a recent break to the upside for the descending trend line, which kind of like gives us some kind of indication that there is bullishness. Okay, so right now at this current point of time, I'm just a bit more biased to bullish. Okay, I'm a bit more biased to bullish. So if anything, if price gets here, I will be considering a buy as of now. Okay, as of all the information that we have collected, I'm like more biased to bullish. Okay, let's see. There should be 100% then. Oh, 60. Yeah, so the 61, yeah, I mean, obviously there will be some kind of projection here based on how the chart is structured. There would be a projection here, so it's kind of close to the 61.8. I see a retracement. For fibs, another 61.8, right? Let's see if there is an expansion here. Okay, not really. Not really, not really. No expansion. It's a projection. There's probably a smaller projection here. Oops, sorry. What I'm trying to do right now is trying to see if there's like Fibonacci confluences that lines up in this area. No, that's a bit too far. The 161.8 is a bit too far. Okay, at this current point of time, let's see if there's an okay, I would say the 127.2. Okay, this area is an area where there is quite a bit of fit levels lining up. So it kind of gives me a bit more confidence that when price that does get here, right, there's gonna be a bounce from here. Okay. Right now price is at 1915. That's like 20 points away. Okay. Um, do I want to sell from here? Nope, I do not want to sell from here. Oh wait, actually, sorry. Didn't see that earlier, but price is at a support here. So there are two possibilities right now that I see. Price might just bounce from here, or here. Okay. I'm more, but isn't gold knowing for ignoring the structure? Yes, gold. I won't say gold ignores structure. I would say gold wicks a lot. Like, um, I'll give you an example. So let's say like you found a support here. Sometimes what I notice with gold is that it comes down to this area and then it just wicks. It just wicks. There's a really long wick. I don't know what's up with gold and wicking. Okay, like I have not found the secret sauce to why it keeps wicking. Okay, it comes here. It can go as low as like 1866, and then it decides. I'm like, okay, no, I'm gonna turn back up, and then you just see like a super long wick. So I don't, if you can see this, like gold tends to wick a lot. So if you are someone who trades gold with a very tight stop loss, you might get stopped out prematurely a lot of times and end up being correct. I found that I had a problem with that because I used to trade with a, I'm someone who trades with a very tight stop loss. So even though my direction and my analysis was correct, I ended up getting stopped out anyways because of how tight my stop loss is and how much the wicking. I know it, like if you look at this, if you look at this area right here, okay, the body ends at 1909, but it wicked as low as 1894. Okay, that's like 7 9, that's like 14 12 points. Right, that is a lot. That is a lot if you're trading gold. I mean, honestly, 12, 12 points is actually enough to make you a lot of profit. But right now, it's just like wicking. So, oh, like gold is very scary when you're catching it at the reversal point. So if you're catching it right, you're trying to catch it right at the swing high, at the swing low, you might find that you get wicked out sometimes. Okay, so that's the thing with gold that you want to be cautious about, like you want to be careful with gold is that it wicks a lot. Like I can scroll back and you see it happening a lot. Like just in this two example, you already see it wicking 1 2 3 4. I can keep pulling back and like you see wicking happening a lot and people get stopped out prematurely a lot, even though their analysis is correct. I mean, that's what happened to me at least. So even right now, I might even call a bounce from here because right now price is at a support, right? I could possibly call a bounce from there. But because of how gold is like the characteristics of gold, it might just come down all the way here with just wick, right? It's not even like the body, it's just like the wick, like the end of the candle, and then come back and shoot up from here. Okay, so right now, my analysis for gold is that it is bullish. The question is whether you are entering from here or here. I'm more confident to get in from this area. Okay, it might just bounce from here. It might because it's at a support. But let me see. Are there any like levels here to indicate that it's gonna bounce from here? Um, don't really see. It's probably a 78.6 fit level there. There's probably a 78.6. Other than this 78.6, don't really see any other levels that I think would line up there. So there is a possibility it might just bounce from here, uh, if not from here. Okay, so it's either here or here. And then when you play it, you can play it all the way to, if you're being very conservative, right? Just being very conservative, you can play it like to this area. Okay, that's just being very conservative. If you're a bit more ambitious, you can play it to here, you can play it to here. That's entirely up to you. But those are just the few graphical levels that I see price going to. Okay, so that's that with gold. Definitely more leaning towards bullish, but the entry you have to wait for some kind of signal from gold to tell you to enter. Okay, I've got no more time left, but because I promised Philip that we'll be looking at NAS 100. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly highlight some levels. Support there, price is approaching a support. Recently broke this support. Now that's now a resistance. Okay, let me see. Anything. Yep, obviously Ichimoku isn't gonna say much. Let me see if Stochastics is saying anything. So the settings we use for Stochastics is 21, 5, and 3. Why we use that is because we found after back testing that this is the one that's this settings is the most efficient or effective settings. Okay, price is at a very low. I don't see any. Okay, I do think price is gonna bounce sometime soon. I don't know if it's gonna be a strong bounce. We need to. Let me see. Let me zoom out a little if I can get more information. This is quite a level to take note of. Okay, with NAS 100, I think price is approaching a support. Um, I don't really have, other than the stochastics being at a very low level, right? At a very oversold level. Um, I do think there would be a bounce. I don't think it's going to be a very strong bounce. I mean, conservatively, you can just play a very small move, right? You can just play it. If it does come here, you can probably play it back to the 23%. Like, that's just being very conservative, right? That's just being very conservative. Other than that, I don't really have a much of a view for DXY. Let me see. I do remember we had a bullish view, right? Yeah, we had a weak bullish on fundamentals for the DXY. So I do think when it comes here, there would be some kind of bounce. The question is, where is it going to bounce to? Um, I think it's just going to be a weak one. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty. Price might just go sideways for a bit. If price comes at this current point of time, the only information I can tell you that if price comes here, I do think there's going to be some kind of reaction. There's going to be a bit of a bounce. Like at this current point of time, I don't have a lot of information, enough data to decide how far I can go. But at this point, you can play it back to here. But that's just a few candles, so I don't know if that's even worth the trade, right? It's probably not even worth the trade. So that's the only thing I have on as 100 is that it's going to be a little bounce here. But other than that, nothing much. Yeah. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys for today. I've ran out of time. I will catch you guys next week. Hopefully, they fix the link and then I can see you guys next week. If they don't fix the link, please just YouTube us. Just search us on YouTube and then we'll probably be there, right? I don't know how you guys managed to get on the webinar today. So for whatever method you use or whatever way it was you used, please use the same way when I catch you guys on Thursday. So our next webinar is on Thursday, okay? Thursday would be live analysis session. Oh, sorry. Let me see. Yeah, Thursday would be a live session. So I will see you guys. Oh no, sorry. I actually have one with you guys tomorrow. So tomorrow would be topical. I think we're going through some trade management. Tomorrow's trade management. So I will see you guys tomorrow for that webinar. Please find a way to get on our YouTube live. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Philip. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, SU, for highlighting. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Martha. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.